Novice ghost hunters Rob and Joey have scored permission to investigate the infamous haunted Winchester house. Looking for the ghost of Lady Winchester, they find more than they were prepared for. "What the hell is that?" asked an agitated and frightened Joey. He was pointing down the long, dark hall. A white, spectral form was waving slowly, seemingly crossing the hall. Rob turned and pointed his camera down the hall. He saw Joey hesitating and backing up. Sure enough, at the end of the wide, deep hall in the dark of the night, a white form like a dress puffed out, then slowly retreated and collapsed again. They knew of many white lady ghosts in famous haunted buildings all over the world, often the spirit of a scorned lover or a former mistress. "Don't back down," Rob whispered. "Remember why we're here, to get evidence of ghosts for the show." Joey nodded, swallowed, and they both crept down the hall, looking through their camera's viewfinders at the spectral form, undulating as if trying to move, trying to communicate. A puff of cool air brushed their cheeks and hair, air scented with the perfumed aroma of roses. "It's Lady Winchester," Joey whispered. "You're supposed to smell flowers when she's near." Both of them were slightly shaking. In their few months of ghost hunting, they had yet to experience a full-bodied apparition. They had recorded knocking, EVP voices, even a cup falling off a table, but for their YouTube channel, they really needed a good, clear view of a genuine ghost. Rob squinted and looked harder at the white ghost. He saw that the ghost was suspiciously connected to a curtain rod. "Dang it, just a curtain," he said. "Don't start seeing ghosts in curtains. That's when our YouTube channels jump the shark. We'll be no better than that other channel, man. Inventing evidence when there's none, running away screaming, jumping out of windows, pretending to be possessed every episode." Joey said, "Sorry, I mean, it looked like a ghost from far away." Rob agreed. "Yeah, I guess it did." Joey stopped and looked up and down the hall. Dozens of rooms and hallway offshoots flanked it on both sides. "I think we're lost, dude. This place is freaking huge," Joey said with some stress in his tone. The Winchester house loomed over the hilly countryside of California, like a grim monster from another time, carefully studying the hills and the forest and the fools who dared approach and enter it. The hulking, gargantuan thing, built by Sarah Winchester, the widow of the Winchester rifle empire over decades and in multiple architectural styles, from classical revival to colonial to Italian Renaissance to Art Deco to everything that spanned the course of American history, hid profound secrets and horrors within its nearly unmappable labyrinth of halls and rooms. "I can't believe we got permission to investigate this place," Joey said. "But it's so weird how Sarah Winchester built it. All the dead ends, stairs to nowhere, the drop-offs. She thought it was haunted by the ghosts of all the people killed with Winchester rifles. The whole house was designed to be a big ghost trap, but I'm just afraid of getting lost. I tell you, I have the map on my phone, don't worry. Come on, let's do another EVP session in the smaller dining room where Lady Winchester hanged herself," Rob suggested. They made their way to the dining room called the smaller one, although it was only smaller relative to the enormous main banquet hall. This one would have been large in any other house. Filled with a long oaken table and elegant French antique chairs, the room called them inside of it with its gaping door. The walls were adorned with rich oil paintings of forgotten people and lands. A large cedar beam crossed the dining room. From the center of the beam hung a brilliant, complex crystal chandelier, the kind made for real candles. Lady Winchester had never replaced some of the lighting with electricity, as she had said that ghosts prefer candlelight, and she had not wanted to anger them. It was from that same beam that she had hanged herself. Joey and Rob had watched a documentary reenactment of the story. They remembered watching Lady Winchester slowly losing her mind. Decades of living in the giant, frightening house with hundreds of ghosts, as she had believed, had pushed her psyche into something deep and dark. And in her last years, she had believed that ghosts were chasing her around the house day and night. They remembered watching the final scene in the documentary. A weeping Lady Winchester in a formal ball gown running through the house in a psychotic break, screaming about devils and demons and ruin and hell, tying the rope to the cedar beam, kicking out the stool, and the documentary had faded out. Joey and Rob stood under the very beam at the very spot that she had done herself in. They looked up and felt chills. They were standing exactly where she had gasped and kicked, then died, and where her corpse had hung for 3 days before being discovered by servants, as she usually kept the room off limits to them. Hey, Joey, do you smell that?" Joey sniffed the air and said, "Perfume. Clear as day. This time it's so much stronger than in the hall with the curtain. Take some pics while I do an EVP session." Rob began snapping multiple photos of every part of the dining room on his infrared camera, while Joey turned on his digital recorder. Rob winced with each click of the camera. He certainly longed to find his evidence of the supernatural, to have a real visible ghost for the YouTube channel. Not only was it a huge personal question of his own, life after death, but that's the kind of footage that makes good money online. Yet, another part of him feared actually seeing a ghost, seeing something so out of his common experience and so unnatural to everything he knew to be real. "Lady Winchester, are you here with us now?" Joey asked. He waited several moments, then asked, "Lady Winchester, if you are here, can you please speak to us? Speak to this device in my hand and we'll be able to hear you." He left the recorder running for a minute while Rob finished his photo session. They both stopped moving and stood in the silence. An electrified charge seemed to zap through the room, and the smell of ozone filled the air to compete with the aroma of the perfume. Several individual strands of hair rose up on both their heads. "Do you feel it? The electricity?" Rob asked in a hushed, frantic voice. "Yes, that's supposed to mean a ghost is using the energy around us to try to communicate." They stood for another 2 or 3 minutes quietly, hoping that the digital recorder would pick up something, anything, any evidence of an intelligent presence. The rosy bouquet flooded the room, unmistakable, impossible to just be their minds conjuring up a smell to fit what they already believed. "Dude, the perfume smells even stronger now," Joey noted. "Shoot, she's here, she's really here." "Play back the recording," Rob said. Joey did. They listened carefully. They heard Joey's first question played back, followed by silence. After his second question, however, a very clear, hoarse whisper replied, "I am here." Joey stopped the playback and they looked at each other. They both suddenly felt like two small, vulnerable men in a vast mansion and in the presence of an entity. "Holy crap," Rob said, almost jumping up from excitement. Joey's hands began to shake. Let me glance through the pics real quick." They stood side by side as Rob clicked through the series of night vision photos. Nothing showed up in any photo until the very last one. They froze, said nothing. In the photo, in the corner of the dining room, was the translucent figure of a woman in a long, hooped ball gown. Her hair flowed back into the air as if she were not bound by gravity. Her white, dead eyes stared at the camera, and her face was peeling away decomposition. Slowly, at the same time, they looked up from the camera and into the same corner. A frigid blast of air blew their hair back. There she stood, the ghost of Lady Winchester, the dead and rotting former lady of the manor, hovering just above the ground and looking at them. She slowly raised her skeletal arm and pointed at them a bony finger. In the dry, croaking voice of one whose vocal cords were decomposing, she rattled, "You do not belong!" Joey dropped his digital recorder. His hands were shaking like a Parkinson's patient. Rob was breathing hard, almost hyperventilating. Rob whispered, "Get this on film!" They never got it on film. Lady Winchester opened her jaws and shrieked, a wail of hatred and murder and death that rattled the silverware on the dining table and the bones in the two ghost hunters. Still hovering and translucent, she tilted towards them and flew across the dining room. Their missing persons case was never solved.